Parker Solar Probe. This world teaches you all about NASA's Parker Solar Probe. There's a whole description of the mission, how it works, and what it will learn. There's also a screen on one of the walls showing current updates, as well as a model of how it's orbiting the sun. It's way closer than you would even expect. There's also a replica of the probe in the middle of the room. If you click a button, it teleports you above it for a spectacular view. I stood up there for a little while, and then when I dropped down, I stood on the sun. I highly recommend checking this one out. You even get a free cup of coffee. It was really cool, and I learned a lot about the probe. The Brevin Cat Museum. The Brevin Cat Museum celebrates all things feline. They have a ton of information in here about types of cats, about illnesses to look out for, and about adopting cats in Second Life. One corner has a ton of information about common and uncommon illnesses, including symptoms and how it affects cats. You can get the information in the form of text chat, a notepad, or in your browser. It's all really helpful information. I looked at the information for hypothyroidism because one of my cats does have hypothyroidism, and it is exactly what his symptoms are. Up in the corner, there's a little room where you can learn about adopting cats in Second Life. There are a few options, as well as some cats running around the room, but it seems you have to feed them in real time, and I don't think I'm equipped to do that in Second Life. But it's fascinating that people make these, and that people adopt cats and take care of them in this world. There are also cats all around the building that you can pet and hang out with. I hung out with Tilly for a while. Across from the section forming on illnesses, there's a bunch of different breeds that you can learn about in the same forms. Text chat, notepad, browser. I looked around at all the breeds, and I learned that there's actually a difference between domestic, American, and British Shorthairs, which I didn't actually know before. I also looked at the Sphinx cats. I love Sphinx cats. The area this museum is located in is beautiful. There's a memorial park next to it, and it's also surrounded by other museums like the Computing Museum and Telecom Museum. There's also marina docks and an arcade. I teleported to an entire space station. It was really fascinating to look around. There was a few different rooms that I saw, including like a hot tub room, which was really cool. Your ACE Help End Child Abuse is a non-profit in Second Life. It focuses on ending child abuse and informs about the types of abuse and what that can affect later in life. There's tons of information inside, like demographics of how many affected by child abuse went on to do drugs, or how toxic stress in childhood alters the brain. There's also a checklist for the ACE scale. I like this astronaut bear. Around the corner, there's a beautiful cafe. I got a pretzel and admired the view. They had a fish tank as well. There was also a nice office. There was a music player inside, and it had really soothing, like, ambient music. They also had a flip book. The more that I see these, the more I consider using one in our project. They take donations, and they also have a guest book that a few people signed. I added my own short note. I think this world is really important. A lot of victims don't realize they were abused, or they think what they went through was normal, so having this information can be incredibly helpful for everyone. The Virtual Realty Learning Institute is a place where you can learn about buying land in Second Life. I didn't know anything about this before, so it was really helpful to see the information they had. I was surprised how expensive it can be. I guess it's probably similar to renting a Minecraft server, which I've done before. I would be curious to see, like, the different sizes where the price goes up. I'd be curious to see just how big those are. Magic Party is essentially a party city in Second Life. I actually just ended up speeding this clip up because I didn't want to cut anything out, and I spent so much time in here. It was really fun to look around, and I love that you can, like, test out all the food platters. They had sections of party themes that you could buy whole sets of, like pink and brown, or brown and blue, or red, white, and blue. They also had a lot of food sets and even a spot with a chef avatar. They had a lot of people around, but I think that they weren't actual players. They may have been, but there was nobody actually here, so I don't think so. They also had kitchen appliances that you could test out, like a fridge that opened and was full of food, as well as ovens, and they made little like clicking sounds like you were turning them on. There was also 2 walls full of balloons and a clown dancing around in front of them. He was going absolutely crazy. I loved it. I really liked the physical stores in Second Life. Nuna. Nuna is an art museum in Second Life. It has all kinds of art from throughout human life, from cave paintings all the way to modern art. I decided to go in the prehistoric or cave painting section. It was absolutely fascinating. Some of the oldest paintings here are tens of thousands of years old. I think it's so fascinating that somebody 45,000 years ago painted a pig on the wall, and now here it is, displayed in Second Life. The coolest thing I learned here is that out of the hundreds of handprints and cave paintings worldwide, 75% of them were discovered to be made by women. They even had a free gift bag you could take. There was even a painting from northern Spain, done about 64,800 years ago, by a Neanderthal, so another species of human. There was a recreation of the painting next to it, and it's really interesting to look at. It looks very abstract, and yet, I'm sure to them, it made perfect sense. There's also another flip book in here. This was actually the first one I saw, and it inspired me a lot. They even had a free gift bag you could take. The exhibit advertised at Nuna is an interactive abstract exhibit. Because of this, I was expecting something more like Team Lab in Tokyo, and even though this was just like a normal art museum, the exhibit itself that was advertised is kind of like that. It's based on 2001: A Space Odyssey. I won't spoil too much, but you get a free helmet and you go inside of a supercomputer. The helmet puts you into zero gravity, which is really neat. I think it's a recreation of a scene from the movie, but I'm not completely sure because I haven't seen it. Don't kill me! There were a couple more rooms. It was long, but I did stay for the whole thing, and I definitely recommend it. There were a couple more rooms with 2001: Space Odyssey pieces after this. But overall, I think it was a really good experience, and I think that it was a really good, way to go to a museum for free, and actually see all these pieces, especially with such a wide variety. Paris 1900. The title of this one, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. It's a recreation of Paris in the 1900s. There was old music, old fashion, and a functioning trolley with bus stops. The trolley was really fun to get on. I sat there and I ate my pretzel. I did have to chase it down, but it was a really interesting experience, and I think you can ride it for a long time too. I glanced around at some of the signs, and I think everything here was in French, which is pretty cool. After I walked around for a little while, I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and so I flew there. If you couldn't guess, the Moulin Rouge! They actually have live events here, although there wasn't one happening when I went. But they did have a sign that showed the information about it, which I thought was pretty cool. You can open the doors and go inside to a beautiful dance floor full of lights. The curtains were closed currently, but I bet it's beautiful when they're open. You could dance to music and interact with people, but there was no one here when I was there. But I still put on my fancy dress and I busted it absolutely down. Amityville, Colorado. This one was a pretty chaotic experience, and I also sped it up because I was there for a while. When you first walk in, you go through this whole maze full of all the, outfits and everything that they want you to wear. They have, all these rules, and you have to wear the specific outfits, and then you have to put on a health bar, and then you have to, page one of their admins so that they can come and give you their tag, which I couldn't figure out how to do that. They did have some preview clothes, which was nice, but I do think it's really interesting just to see how, immersive it can be in these roleplay worlds. The Blarney Stone is an Irish pub in Second Life. As soon as I walked in, I was met with lots of people hanging out, dancing, and there was even a couple dancing the whole time I was there, which I thought was really cute. There was a guy performing, his name was Two Step, and it was really, such a cool experience to be able to see, a live performance. I went over and I looked at the list of performances, and it seems like they have stuff happening, every day, and pretty much all day, too. I went at around 2:45, and that was when Two Step was performing. It was 2 to 3 p.m. So they usually have people come and perform for about an hour. I had a really fun time trying to figure out how to dance. I think that the people around me had more animations than I do. I feel like online games can feel a little bit detached from reality, even when you're around other people. But this really felt like these people were, hanging out. It was just so, cool to see everybody having a good time. I got a drink at the bar, and then I changed my hair color to be a little more in theme. And I just had a really great time here. It was really, really cool. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe we'll run into each other in Second Life.